All right, guys, so here we are with my newest unboxing. And what I'm going to be replacing today is that. So that was kind of like my temporary ATO. It was only like 10 bucks. I think you guys have seen those kind before. And I really just kind of wanted to like try it out, see if it would work in a pinch. If you saw my review videos, I actually did 2 of them because the thing worked amazingly straight out of the box and I was super pumped. And then on day 2, it completely stopped working and the little tube was out of the water, but I just kind of flicked it and it boop, boop, got the air bubble back in, and I've never had another issue since. I've refilled it a couple times and it's worked great. So I don't know how reliable it really is, but I don't care because I have replaced it. So that's not true. I do care because I want to use it if I need a backup. But what I am hoping to use without issue, so I don't have to use the backup, is this new auto top off from Fzone. So I'm super excited about this, and I'm going to do an unboxing right now and let you guys check it out. Like always, I've not opened this box, I promise. So we're going to just kind of do this and see if I can set it up and see if it works. Alrighty, so here it is once again, model FZ360P, the Fzone Auto Top Off. This has an optical sensor. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what's inside. Okay, so we have a user's manual. We have, whoa, look how small that little bitty optical sensor is. Super small. This is why it's going to be so perfect for my Nano tank. Oh, that's a strong little magnet too. Yikes. Nice, strong magnet right there. Have what I'm going to call so far in my doings the world's smallest little return pump. This thing is super cute. There's that. And then we have our power cord. There you have it. So there's everything that was in the box. So now let's see how this thing would kind of set up here, right? So I have my aquarium, not that I'm going to be using, but I'm going to use this just to show how this thing would work. So let's get this auto top off going. So I'm going to drop this thing into the tank, hook it on like that. Okay, so obviously I'm just going to put this where I want my water line, and it has 2 little sensors on it. As a low level sensor right here, and then a high level sensor right here. And this thing is actually really cool because it has like a memory. So when you first set it up, it learns how long it takes to fill between the sensors. And then it has like a memory. And then if it ever takes 6 times longer than that to fill up, it senses that something is wrong, and then it shuts off. So let's see how these things connect. So there's 2 different plugs here. Let's see if they look the same. They do. So they do, they are labeled. Okay, so if you look on there, this is, I don't know if you can see, this is labeled. One says power and one says pump. So that's awesome. That's kind of hard to screw up, right? So the pump goes in the pump and the power goes in the power, and then you have this thing set up. So that's how simple it is to set up in theory. And then I'm just going to drop this into my water, and then I'm going to plug in the other version, and we're going to see if this works. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up right here on this tank and see if we can make this thing work. Okay, so first thing is I didn't finish completely unpackaging this box. So inside we have several other things that we need. We have our clip that it's going to connect to the side of our aquarium and hold our return water tube. And we have that return water tube right here. And then we also have a one-way check valve. So what I will do is end up cutting this at some point into 2 pieces, and then making sure this one-way valve is in place so that you couldn't end up creating a siphon in some case. I mean, I'll have this out of the water, but just as a super backup, in case somehow the water level ever came up above this tube, you could create a siphon, and this will prevent that from going back into your reservoir. So a couple more items that I need to set this whole thing up. So I'm going to see if I can do it. Okay, so I don't know if I'm doing this in any sort of a logical order, but just one thing at a time. So here I put the little brace that connects to the rim of the tank. And so it adjusted back here with this screw and it's all nice and tight. And then this is where the return water will come up the tube and go down through here. And I'll cut it to length and then I'll tighten it in here with this. Okay, so I have connected my tube and then I will bring you here down below to show you what I've done. So down here, I connected the one-way valve, making sure that it was going in the correct direction. And now I'm going to connect this to my pump and then place it into my reservoir. So let's do that. Okay, so the pump is going in. So I'm gonna go ahead and just push this all the way down in there. I'm gonna push this underneath here. And then I'm gonna just spend a little bit of time and make sure that the pump is all the way down towards the bottom. So I'll spend a little bit of time doing that, but that's how I'm gonna have that set up. Okay, this is what I love about making these videos real, right? Is I don't edit them out to make myself look better. I don't go into it with a plan. I just kind of attack it like I think a normal doofus like myself would. For all of you out there who are willing to admit that you just make trial and error and you just kind of go for it. And that's half the fun of the hobby. So what I've done here is decided, you know what? This little water jug is not gonna work because I can't obviously get my hand in here and I couldn't get the pump to just sit at the bottom because it's so light, it literally floats. Plus, I would have to pull it out every time I needed to refill it. So now what I decided was, I'm just gonna use this leftover $9.99 tank that I have, and I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna be able to see it easily, and then, like over here on this side, I can just slide this thing out, fill it up with one of these buckets with my RODI water, and then slide it right back underneath. So I am pretty pumped about that. So now I'm gonna work on the optical sensor. Okay, so I have set up the optical sensor, and I don't know if you can see, but once again, there are two like little points that stick out, and the one point, the low point, I have it pretty much kind of right at the current water level. And so I tried to leave it just a little bit above, so maybe when I plug it in, it'll turn on right away, but will be interesting to see how I can get it just right. And I've also just noticed that, I mean, it's in here, like, you know, just moving this isn't gonna like rip this thing out, but I definitely can tell already that I'm gonna wanna secure this in some way, just to make sure that this cord in particular, you know, doesn't somehow get knocked and messed up. So like this controller, the controller for my lights, my controller for my pump, all that sort of stuff, I'm gonna end up mounting down here so I don't have this clusterfuck of things. And so when I do that, I'll make sure I have it tied in a manner that this can't accidentally get knocked. But let's go ahead and fill this thing up with water, plug it in and see what happens. Plenty just to get started and see if it works. Okay, it's hard to see back here, but if you look at that green tape, what I actually did was, I can easily move that, but I already just wanted to go ahead and tape that wire like I was talking about, so I can't accidentally hit this and have it just move this water sensor, because getting that level correct is obviously pretty darn important. So I'm gonna reach down here and try to plug this thing in. So let me get this camera in a place where you can see if a disaster happens. All right, so doing this and plugging in at the same time is gonna be hard, but here we go. I'm gonna plug this thing in and I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, I don't have my manual, so I forget what all the flashing lights mean, but they mean something. Oh, so it sensed that the water level was a little low. And then it filled up right in between the two marks, right to the top of the top mark, and then it stopped immediately. And so I don't have the manual memorized, but those lights are part of the sensing process, the learning process, where it learns how long it takes to fill from the low sensor to the high sensor. And then it keeps that memory so that if for any reason something got all screwed up, like I did hit this and move it, and it ran for 6 times longer than the average, it's smart enough to sense that, hey, this thing probably got moved and we don't want to just keep filling until it reaches the sensor, because we're smart enough to know that something has gone wrong. So that is a feature that I am super in love with. And if you didn't notice, that worked spectacularly. It was super quick. It was super quiet. I wasn't sure how powerful that water stream was going to come out and if it was going to cause any splashing. It did not. So just to show you again, this is the way I currently have it set up with this tank underneath here. So I could easily pull it out and fill it up. And if I put 5 or 10 gallons in there, I mean, I can pretty much forget about this thing probably for about a month. So that is super awesome. I loved how quiet it was. So now I just have to continue to get the rest of my equipment in place and get all the cords and everything and all my controllers set. But so far, super happy with this product. And once again, it was the Fzone Auto Top Off model FZ360P from Fzone, and so far it looks awesome. So I just finished putting the rest of this 5-gallon bucket in here, and although, like I said, I already had this tank for $9.99, so I just thought, what the hell. I do think it's a bit overkill. I'm not looking for a fashion show back here. This is just my own little area upstairs in my little special TV room here. So this isn't a show tank, but there's really just no need to have this big. I think Petco might still be having their sale, so I might go look at a 5-gallon aquarium. I think those are literally on sale for like $5.99 right now. And I think a little 5-gallon glass aquarium right back here would actually be the perfect size. So I might try that. But once again, we are getting closer. Soon there'll be stuff in there to look at. Yay. Hey guys, thanks. I appreciate it. If you stuck around this long, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it and help continue to follow my journey.